listen to this clip first.
Your interim government has been in power for a year now. You've said that elections will be held in February. It was going to be later, but you've moved it forward to February 2026. But even that.
First half of February.
First half of February, okay. But even
because of the Ramadan.
Okay,
it's
understood.
But
as you said at the start of this interview, a lot of people in Bangladesh, they want action now, not tomorrow, not 6 months from now. The critics say it's too late. 6 more months of waiting for elections is too long. People are growing restless. Why can't we have an election earlier? In Nepal, where the government was also ousted earlier this year, the interim leader has promised in Nepal to hold elections in just 6 months. Why has it taken Bangladesh, or why will it take Bangladesh 18 months to have an election?
Sure. You said people are saying why it takes so much time. There are also people who say stay 5 years, stay 10 years, stay 50 years. So the people are saying all kinds of things. You stay. Why election? Who needs an election?
Okay, but those are people who don't believe in democracy.
Absolutely.
The people who believe in democracy say, why can't we have elections sooner? What is the delay?
It's not about democracy when they say that. They talk about the good governance.
Okay.
So we want to see corruption-free governance.
Understood.
So you stay on because we don't want to get into the chaos after the election. So all I'm saying that is you gave one version, there's other version
Fair
also.
enough.
Whether which one version is stronger.
But do you want to tell our viewers today, what is the reason it's taken so long to get to elections?
We're interim government.
Okay.
We are not, nobody defined how long we should be there.
Okay.
It's our decision how long we should be there. But we have understanding that we have 3 tasks to perform. One is reform, another is a trial, the last one is election.
Okay.
So we are going to the reform agenda. This is a big agenda.
Yes.
Because if you just hold an election, same old stuff will happen again.
Yep.
Under different name, different pictures, and so on. We need reform. If you just hold the election, same repetition, everything, because the laws, rules, procedures has remained the same.
Yes.
So one of the demand for the population, led by the students, is to reform. So make sure all the roots are taken out, uprooted. So you have a different kind of structure so that this thing cannot come back. All the roads where fascism creeps in, block them so that they cannot come in. So that is our agenda. It's a big agenda.
But do you understand the argument that because you're the interim government, you should stick to kind of minimal, basic stuff and let the big decisions be decided by an elected government?
Nobody disputes that.
Okay.
All we said that these are the 3 things we are given to do.
Fair enough.
So
British-American journalist Mehdi Hasan has interviewed Professor Yunus of Bangladesh, the Professor Yunus, who is the head of so-called interim government of Bangladesh, the unconstitutional head of the government. Who elected Mr. Professor Yunus? Who elected him? At least not BNP or Awami League leaders. He said he was elected or selected through meticulous design by the leaders of the uprising, the students, the youth. Well, BNP had to swallow the proposition that he will be the head of the government because there was no other choice. Now we are coming to know the meticulous design and its details. And he said, when Mehdi Hasan asked him why elections were not being held right away, what was the reason of the delay? He said there are portions of the public who want him to remain in power for years to come. But who are those people? Who are those people who want him to remain in power for indefinite period or for a long period of time? The leaders of small, minor unregistered parties who do not have even the registration to take part in elections yet? The one-man party leaders? When Awami League is not in the scene, because Awami League forms 40% at least of the population, regardless of the fact that their regime was overthrown through an uprising. But there's no way to deny there's a massive number of our population, they like Awami League. Regardless of whatever you say, regardless of the faults of Awami League leaders. That's the fact. I'm not a supporter of Awami League, but I believe in multi-party system. So, do they like Dr. Yunus? Definitely not. What about BNP? They don't like Dr. Yunus. They have to swallow Dr. Yunus, and they have to accept Dr. Yunus for this so-called interim period because there was no other choice. The leaders of this so-called uprising, the NCP leaders and other minor party leaders, they simply, I would say, hijacked this uprising. They had Dr. Yunus as their choice. They were the one who proposed him as their leader for the interim government. BNP, they want election right away. And they are not against Awami League taking part in the coming elections, right? So there you go. BNP and Awami League, they form 90% of our voters. So they want election right away. And Dr. Yunus is saying that there are reasons for this delay because otherwise, the same situations will happen again. Dictatorship will take foot in Bangladesh again. My question is, no matter what you do, Dr. Yunus and your regime, no matter what you do, all your steps will have to be approved by elected government in future, right? And during the uprising, there was no call for reforming the constitution. There was no such call. We were fooled by the so-called student leaders who were hiding their true political identities behind the camouflage of ordinary students. Right? Isn't that true? So there are unresolved questions like who killed the police officers? Why can't there be a fair investigation about police killings? Why not? Why don't we know the identities, political identities of those students who were either killed or they were injured during the uprising? Because we have now reasons to believe most of the injured and most of those students who were killed are and were terrorists, extremists, jihadis. Why don't you take up the challenge and provide us with the information of their political backgrounds? So, Dr. Yunus, the uprising was not for reformation. Uprising transpired into a call for Sheikh Hasina's resignation because we were told and all the medias were showing that Chhatru League, the student wing of Awami League, and the police were carrying out brutal attacks against students when they were demanding a fair demand that they should be allowed a fair chance to get jobs in national selection process for government jobs. Quota system should be abolished. But when we saw now, when we're seeing now, in fact, on videos, and when we rewind those videos, we see that students were being killed and their friends were standing by them. They were not moving. These are all jihadi attitude. I was a student leader as well during anti-Eshad uprising. We didn't say anything like this. And since the fall of Sheikh Hasina, we have seen brutality at its epic. At its epic. Brutality at its worst form. Judiciary has been destroyed. Political institutions destroyed. Atrocities have been carried out against Awami League activists, regardless of their involvement with any kind of illegal activities. Many, detainees were tortured. Allegedly, some of them were killed during incarceration. A total denial of fair judicial process. And you are telling us that you have the authority to reform. Reform what, Dr. Yunus? You do not have the authority to call for any reform because we never asked for reform. Those of us, the general mass who toppled Sheikh Hasina, we toppled her because we had enough of atrocities against the students, ordinary students who had a valid demand. But it transpired into call for fall of Sheikh Hasina. But there was no such call for reformation before the fall of Sheikh Hasina. So we want you to go. You have ashamed us a lot, including the fake picture recently with, President Trump. You even went to General Assembly and violated General Assembly Procedure Rule 25 and allowed political leaders to sit on our sovereign bench at the General Assembly. How much do you want us to digest? There's no procedure set for if you even have a natural death tomorrow, who is going to run the government? We have seen so-called mob justices, mob attacks, since the fall of Sheikh Hasina on a daily basis. We don't want you. We want you to go. So you are in no position to say that people want you, apart from a few fanatic groups like Jamaat-e-Islami, and who are now calling for PR system because they're scared. They're scared of Awami League coming back. They're scared of BNP winning a mass because they know they are not liked by overwhelming majority of Bangladeshi population. We never heard that these students were against 1971 liberation ethos, morals, spirit. We're hearing things we never heard during July-August uprising in 2024. Dr. Yunus, you have lost all moral right to remain in power, and you never had a legal right to remain in power. You are an unconstitutional thug who should hide his face under the sands. Dr. Yunus, we had enough of you, enough of your ugliness. Just make tracks. Go. You are not playing with our sovereignty. You are now dictating our foreign policies. We never thought of so this way, that you are trying to make enemies with our neighbors now. You are pushing Bangladesh into the verge of a war with Myanmar. We are saying foreign soldiers coming to our soil. Just get the hell out of our government, if not from our country. Yeah? Finally, Dr. Yunus, why should the trial be an impediment against holding a fair election? Doesn't make sense. Let the trial keep going, and the trial should proceed as it is proceeding now when the elected government comes to power. What are you scared of? Are you scared of letting this trial continue up to the time for an elected government to come to power, and that government might change the course of this trial or influence this trial somehow? Are you scared of that? One of the judges of the trial is affiliated to the BNP party. So what changes are you scared of? Unless, as I was saying, you are part of a judicial persecution, not persecution, persecution system. You are holding judicial persecution, vendetta on behalf of Jamaat-e-Islami. You are part of that evil circle, aren't you, Dr. Yunus?